Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hello. This week we're here with Felix Lin, who was like a speaker facilitator at Tony Robbins Summer Camp, Gills, and obviously everyone we have on is from Gills. We love the community so much, and it's so nice to catch up with everybody. Felix, it's so good to see you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing awesome. It's great to see you guys. Like, how cool is it to walk down memory lane here?
Yeah, it's awesome. We love it so much. It's been really cool. How would you even describe your role at Gills? Was it, because I know you did like the board break with us, but how would you describe it outside of that?
So officially, I'm a co-facilitator, right? So we take content, we deliver content on stage. I think back when you guys were going through the 3 years you guys went through, I was also running the team leads back then. And then we were also designing the overall program. So to make sure that we had like great speakers, we had a great flow, right? We're teaching things in the right order kind of thing. A little bit of all of that.
Wow, that's awesome. For anyone who, I described this summer camp to, because I was at Date with Destiny and they were asking if anyone had been to Gills. And I'm like, yes, I grew up through the program and I'm able to talk to everybody. I'm like, it's like the content of UPW, but not watered down, like made more relatable to the average teenager. And then you remove some relationship aspects and you add in more leadership and goal setting and things like that to make it more applicable to a teenager. But the content's always been so great. I feel every year, every time I go to a Tony event, it can be the same content, but I get something different out of it. So even every year attending as a teenager or as a kid, I feel like I got something so different out of it. But thank you so much for the work you've done and will continue to do and have done. It's impacted so many lives, ours included, and just can't thank you enough for it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor. It's been 25 years now. So it's been, yeah, we started in 2000. So this will be the 26th year
Wow.
that we've had something like this.
Wow. I didn't realize it started in 2000. That's awesome. I can't remember what my first year was. Must have been like 2014 or 2013 for me. I don't know, Josh, you were like 1 year earlier than me, I think.
Yeah, I think you must have been 2012 because I was 1 year before that. So
Okay.
yeah, I think 2012 sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were in the same youth leader year too. That was just when we got close and maintained a relationship since then. So let's go ahead and spin a wheel. So fun recreation. How do you make mundane tasks more fun? What do you think, Felix?
You got to find out why. You really have to connect why. And then the key is not fall into oh, this sucks. It's all about state, right? So just like the board break, everything's about state. How I'm going to show up to do it is going to be really important. The kind of words that I say in my head, the belief system I have around it, and then my physiology. So I have a belief that I can make anything fun, right? Doesn't mean I always do it, but I will have as much. If I don't actually have fun doing something, I will either find a way to do it, and if it makes it too difficult, then I probably won't do it if it's not critical. Right? I even might hire somebody else to do it because it's not as fun for me, but it may be fun for somebody else, right? But if it's something that I have to do, then I'm going to find a way to make it fun. I'll sing, I'll dance. You guys like the best part about the youth group is that you guys are so into music that you can put on music anytime and have a great time.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing for me. It's definitely putting on music. If I'm working, there's tunes going. Ideally, I have a standing desk so I can dance and work at the same time. If I'm going to be doing something I don't love necessarily, I'm going to have a party while I'm doing it. And also, I think putting myself in an environment that is fun. So if I'm working on something that might not feel great, maybe I'll go to a cool coffee shop, or maybe I'll go and explore a new co-working space, or just changing up the physical environment as well can really create some fun energy and just momentum there. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's all down to your state and the state that you approach it in, as we've obviously learned so much about over the years. My job, I think, is very mundane in many ways. Every day is similar tasks. I'm doing the same thing all day, every day, just calling people. And if I didn't approach that in a peak state, then I wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. It would just drain me. And I find that when I'm coming at it from a place of, oh, this is so boring, coming at it from a negative headspace, it becomes boring. So it is what you make it. It's so funny. I think I said to you, Sasha, a couple of days ago that my girlfriend Savita, she's just been doing the Tony's free event online for a few days, and it's her first exposure to Tony. And I've spoken to her about him for so many years and the impact it's had. And she's met a bunch of my friends, including Sasha, and she's never fully understood it. And now she's suddenly coming out with all this Tony language, like peak state. And it's so funny to me. I never thought I would hear her come out with that, but I've persuaded her to come to UPW this year, and it's funny to hear it coming from her. She's now also on that sort of exact same wavelength of, Josh, you've been saying this to me all these years about if I'm feeling low, all I have to do is jump up and down, and I never understood it. Jump up and down and blast some music, and I never got it, but I understand now, and it's so true. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Change the language. It's obviously just the state, change the state. I feel like I do it regularly. At my 9 to 5, I like always have music going. I always have something going. So it's been a great way too for me to explore new music and things like that. So I just always have it going. As far as like getting into the meat of the episode, just to give some background, some context, we base it around the wheel of life, and we expanded it a little bit based on Tony's. And this is like Tony's back in the day. I know it's changed since then. We do 12 different sections, and we have this belief that in life, there are always going to be areas that are going well and always areas that are not going well. It's not super realistic to have 10 out of 10 in every category all the time. So we want to focus on masterminding how to maybe give attention and TLC to some of the areas that need a little boost. In life right now, what's going well? What needs some masterminding for you right now, Felix?
Oh, okay. So overall, what's going really well is so many things that I've done over the course of time have all come to a full, um, it's all you can see it, right? So I'm 55 now, right? And so I can look back at all these years. I started with Tony, 28 years ago. And starting with Tony, I'm a physics, and if you don't mind me doing this way, I'm a physics nerd, right? So I never thought I'd be in front of people, talking to people that just like talking about emotions for that matter, right? And understanding that to me, it's all just a great puzzle. Doing intervention work, right? So Tony got me into the youth side back in 2000. And so after that, then I got into being able to do the board break. And that board break actually just broke me into doing speaking around the world. I had the opportunity to work with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs at Tim Draper's Draper University. Then from that, we started working at gang leaders around 2017. And then from that, that completely opened my eyes, right? I always want to put myself in situations where I'm going to learn something. And what I learned working with those guys is that, wow, the things that I thought that, hey, they could just make a better choice. After listening to their stories and understanding what they went through as kids, they didn't have much of a choice, right? And then as soon as they made some of the bad choice, like the choices that they had to make, and then they get a felony on their record, next thing they can't get a job. And so they're completely ostracized out of normal society. They've never had credit. They've never bought anything without just straight cash, right? And there's a lot of things you can't buy with without straight cash. So then I met a guy named John Jackson who brought me, he had a program, well, he still has a program called Hustle 2.0, brought me into a prison. And then the next thing you know, I'm talking to these two ex-Marines that have been in jail for over 10 years. And one of the guy's daughter died while he was in there. And we're all sitting there crying together. And what they do in that program for these incarcerated guys is out of this world. After they go through this program, 90% of them don't choose violence anymore. So it's like looking at every human and just seeing that for who they are. So like all of this, the acceleration of learning is faster and faster right now. Things are just coming together that work separate. And you guys see this every day, right? So all of a sudden, oh, I thought this, and I thought, oh, they came together. And now you guys are like doing your careers and things like that. And it'll accelerate even faster. And so now I'm working with an organization that Tony supports. They are an anti-human trafficking organization.
Yes.
Right? They've saved over 80,000 girls at this point. And if we don't so they're in about 12 cities. and they can reduce the amount of girls like that are being trafficked by 90% in every city because of the technology used, the strategy and tactics they use. And so my job is on the other side of it, right? So after they rescue the girls, how do we rehabilitate? And so everything that I've done all has led to this, right? In fact, last year in October, I was out in Cambodia for 10 days and just learning about what these girls are going through, but also utilizing all the Tony stuff to just to shift state, right? To help them understand that what they've gone through is not will define them. In fact, they can use it to be able to create a better life for themselves in the end. So that's the sorry, it's a
Never be
long-winded
sorry about
version
that.
of
That's incredible. That's incredible.
yeah, it's just like everything is just coming together. So that part, so when you talk about what can get you excited and have fun, finding something that is you're unbelievably passionate about and making sure you do it because that will feed everything else. You'll get excited about like the most mundane things, right? When you have like something that you love doing or somebody that you love doing it with, all right? As soon as you find that, everything else like just has a better color to it, has a better energy to it, right? So like finding this in the last few years has been out of this world,
Mm.
right? And now what's not working as well, probably I would say just overall business. So I've run businesses and created some really great traction up until about 2015, 2016, and there was a moment where I made every mistake I possibly could as a business owner, had to bankrupt the business and myself at that matter. I couldn't save it. And then the journey out of scarcity has still not completed on that side. So still doing okay, but just not anywhere near as where I could have like, if I had learned better lessons before that happened, then it would have been a different story at this time. But hey, if it wasn't for that situation, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Right. So everything leads to the right spot in the end.
Mm, that's awesome. It sounds like contribution is just such a key pillar, like with you knowing that you're making such an impact in the lives of people around you, if that's like the youth or people who are in prisons or jails, and now people who have suffered from human trafficking. It's so inspiring, and like just your contribution, your excitement for your contribution makes me excited. It's infectious and contagious. And I love that so much. And it's interesting that like kind of business career like isn't going as well, because a lot of times they can be correlated and go hand in hand. If you feel like you're really providing value and contributing in a lot of ways, like that can come back. So it's an interesting thing to mastermind as well. And career is, I feel like, such a big area that people mastermind in as well. Just it's like the general idea of masterminding is around career and around business as well. Are you like in businesses currently and just have your foot in a bunch of different things and just seeing what's sticking, or how are you approaching it right now?
So I have the company that I have I've been doing recruiting for 28 years, right? So we do executive search work. And we also go into companies and work with them on their culture and being able to give them tools and on leadership and how to work with each other, communication, human psychology, right? Just teaching people the basic things that really help people gel together, and have developed a whole system around it to do that. And so that part's going really well. It's just marketing it out, right? Just getting it out to everybody. And yeah, so there's a lot of growth that can be happening, and then again, there's this whole side of, hey, it's like, I want to do as much of this as I possibly can. It's like at 55, the average age of lifespan for men is 71. So my daughter is older now than the average time I have left. And so when you get to this age now, you start thinking about that. I wasn't really thinking about that, but it's okay. I've got to leave. I've got to make impact, right? That I've got all this information and stuff. And so how do you balance all of it? How do you balance the just wanting to do as much as you possibly can and share as much wisdom as you can and things that you've learned, and at the same time, you still got to make money. Still have to feed the family. That part doesn't stop. But the balance it's working. It's not as illustrious as it was years ago. But you know what? There's nothing to complain about, right? It's a gift. It's all a gift in the end.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, just on the career thing, I think Sasha and I were literally talking a couple of hours ago about how the universe works in mysterious ways and things happen when they're meant to happen. I find that that's only the case if we're putting the right energy out there. So if we're putting the energy out there and we're working on things the way we should be, but also I think it really helps if we're doing something that we are very passionate about and that we really love, because as you say, it becomes so much easier to do that and every part of that on a day by day basis. And if you're putting that energy out there, then things fall into place and opportunities naturally arise. And I think that's such a cool thing to hear from you in terms of that's what you've been experiencing, because we talk about it all the time about how these things happen, but you have to be doing the right things. You have to be, there's no right or wrong thing, of course. If you're just going to lie in bed all day and or sit on the sofa and watch TV and wallow in that kind of the negative things that have been happening, then you're not going to be creating those opportunities, or the opportunities are not going to appear in your life. You have to be actually putting yourself out there. And so, yeah, hearing you talk about that, as Sasha said, it was infectious. And it's so nice to hear that works. These things work if you're passionate about it and you're putting that sort of energy out there. It's really nice.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%, right? Life isn't going for us in the way that we want it to go. Find something to put your energy into and just expand it. Don't be stagnant, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you guys, and that's one of the reasons why you guys do this, is that because it's something that you're passionate about. You love this connection. You love like talking to people, and just do it, right?
Yeah.
If you love it, do it.
Yeah, exactly. We have said this so many times that this podcast, every time I sign off, I feel like I just had a therapy session. It's so nice to be able to chat with your best friend once a week, at least once a week, and just chat through what's happening with life and be able to mastermind things and just be able to point out blind spots for each other has been really helpful for over the past year. But we had a relationship before that where we would just voice message back and forth. That's how we kept in touch. And we're basically podcasting to each other. And for my podcast, Josh ended up coming on and we recorded an episode together, and the feedback was great. And we were saying, we want to mastermind. We can record it and if people want to listen, great. But if not, we're going to do this anyway. And I will continue to do it because it doesn't matter how much money it makes or if it makes no money or whatever. I just enjoy sitting down and chatting with Josh, but also like our community around us. Just enjoy reconnecting with everybody. And it's been really insightful. And so it feels so good. So if it feels great, do it. Why not? Like, it's okay. It's really interesting. And I think one thing too that stuck out to me about what you were saying too is, yeah, the balance is working and there's always room for improvement. I think that's fair with everything. Things can be great. Things can be at a 9. They can always go to a 10. And it was something that's like, yeah, it might be marketing, it might be that. And also I think it comes down to working smarter and not harder. Is there like delegation or is there strategic positioning there just to be able to delegate your time and energy towards maybe marketing or sales or something like that? Just to buy yourself back more time and energy to spend on your family or maybe your contribution or other things like that. I don't know, that's just like where my mind goes to, where it's like, maybe it's a possibility of bringing someone on to a commissioned salesperson and just be like, listen, we have the product, it's quality, get it out there and let's change some lives, let's change some company cultures and let's get it going.
Yeah, that's a great idea, right? So like we talk about it in terms of superhero powers. And it's like, what are the things that you love to do that you don't ever have to be told to do or forced to do, right? These are the natural things that people will just gravitate in all contexts of life. And so they will just do it over and over and over again. And we all have many of these. It's not just one thing. We have many of them. Some we do a lot all the time. Sometimes we hardly do any of them. And one of the reasons why people leave their jobs is because superhero powers actually change. Something that you used to love to do becomes a little bit boring, becomes a little bit mundane, right? And sometimes the boss forces that person to keep doing it over and over again because they are certain about that person getting the result, right? And then they don't let them grow. That's the problem. So we all want that growth, and finding like out what your superhero power is. For me, I love creating content. I love being able to teach. I love being able to put the right person in the right role, things like that. What I'm not are my past superhero powers is a lot of probably organization, right? So I'm not a bit like, if you ask me to structure files or structure a project, things like that, I can do it. It just takes me a lot of time. And there are people that think that way that are really good at it and they love it, right? So my goal is always to find the right person to be in their superhero power, because they'll do it over and over. They'll do it 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
And so I actually instead of using the word delegate, I use the word empower. Empower to me, and this is something that we teach the companies we work with, right? Empowering somebody is I have to know what they love. And I'm going to empower them to help them get better, help them do the things that they can accelerate. They can become a much better human along the way, help them be their best. If I'm just delegating stuff, that's usually I'm giving them am I allowed to curse?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes,
I'm
please.
giving them the shit job that they don't want to, that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens when people delegate. And so I want people to choose that word instead, because now, okay, I'm thinking about these, or I've had leaders that I've had that, oh, hey, Felix, I think you should really do this. And it's, wow, you're right. This is something that I really want to get into. And they really empowered me to make that happen.
What do you feel like is, so you say that the superhero powers are the ones that we naturally gravitate towards. For the person who's, I don't know what my superpower is, like, how do I do that? How do I find that? What would you say?
So it's interesting, right? And I had the opportunity to go with Tony to go work with the Golden State Warriors back in 2018, right? So I got to support what he did, and it was out of this world. And so he actually he asked them the question. He goes, "What do you bring to the team?" Right? And so one by one, so it started off with Steph Curry going, I love to hit the big shot. And the whole team's laughing, right? And and then Tony then asked him the question, okay, what is your name? Who are you when you go looking for the big shot? He said, I'm the baby-faced assassin. And everybody starts laughing.
Yeah.
And then he asked him, okay, what's your move? And he does this shoulder shimmy. And he's checking out his whole triad, right? And so he's understanding his triad at him being his best. And so he goes one by one all the way through the whole team. And at the very end, the only person who hadn't answered was Kevin Durant. And so KD, for most people who may or may not know basketball, Kevin Durant is one of the best players that have ever played the game, right? And so when he came on to the Golden State Warriors, they started winning championships. And he was very quiet. And Draymond Green, who's like the heart and soul of that team, he's, KD, we need you, please speak up. And KD goes, you know what? When I first came here, he got a lot of bad press for going there, right? Because they were a really great team already, and they called him a sellout and things like that because he wanted to win championships. Sure, he wants to win championships, and at the same time, they just called him a sellout for going to that team. And so he said, when I came here, you had a great, unbelievable culture here. The teamwork's amazing, and I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, right? And so, how many of us have gone into a situation where we've held ourselves back? Right? We didn't give everything that we could. And we just didn't want to step on somebody else's toes. How many of us tell ourselves that we don't know what we're really great at? And we already know. You guys, you already know. You already know what you love doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's just stopping the talk for a second in our heads to think about it. And so he's like, hey, come on, answer the questions. And so Kevin Durant goes, I love to hit shots from all over the court. And as a power forward, it's a 3-pointer. He can play in the paint. He's just a dominant player. And then he called himself the sniper, right? And if you saw him at the Olympics last year, that's one of his nicknames. And then I forgot what he did with his move, but they're all chanting, right? They're all chanting with him. And you can see it was about February or March of 2018. The Golden State Warriors were having challenges. They were losing to teams that they were having. Normally they would just beat. So Steve Kerr, the coach, asked Tony to come talk to the team. And that's why we ended up there. And if you look at the game logs after that Kevin Durant just put the whole team on his back. And he just he just, all of a sudden he came to the realization that the team needs him, right? And he just started like scoring 30, 40, 50 points. And he just went on the streak of dominance. They started winning. And if you watch the playoffs that year, you'll see them calling each other's names.
That's cool.
Calling each other to be their best. And then they won the championship that year. And so it was like just such a cool thing to see. So what is the superhero power? First, get in state, right? Get into what is your best state? Just forget about everything else for a moment. Who are you when you're like, how are you feeling when you're at your best? And then notice what you do, like where time disappears. What do I do that if I'm like at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, like I'm doing this and I didn't even eat lunch and I just keep doing it, right? Then that gives you a clue. And it's not just one thing. There are many things. Like I love solving problems. I love solving little logic problems. Like you get that little math test that comes up on Facebook and I just want to do it. If I can spend just a few minutes doing it, I stop and I do it every time. Even chess, like one of those chess, like little puzzles comes out. Oh, you can mate in 2 moves. I don't even play chess. and I got to figure it out, right? I got to figure this out. How does this, and so it's just the figuring those little things out. I love doing it. And so that's what I realized doing all the intervention work with Tony, like working with suicidal people, working with people that have like depression, working with people that like all of this is just a puzzle. And with the right tools, you can solve it every time. You can help somebody solve it every time. And so that's the coolest thing about this whole journey with Tony as well, is that like all these pieces, whether it's the board break, the Dickens process, there's a whole process inside of there as to solve the challenges with many people at once. Right. And that's how it's designed. And so if you understand the design of it, now you can recreate it and do it every time. And so for me, that's what I love. But there are other things that I love doing, right? I love creating content. I love putting myself on the line, being on stage now. I didn't like that in the beginning. You never would have guessed that. I never would have guessed that I would be in front of people doing talks, running a youth leadership, now running a youth leadership program, or now building this curriculum for the girls, right? We got 3 to 6 months to help them get past all the trauma that they've gone through. And that's like years of being raped, like 3+ years of being raped 10 times a day. And so you think that, oh my God, this is so much trauma. Like, where do we begin? We will begin by understanding that that's not who they are, right? And we can help them change that. Like they can choose a different meaning around it. But most importantly, that there's a part of them there's a part of all of us that is untouchable, right? There's a part of us that's indestructible. There's a part of us that is the energy that glues all these cells together, right? And that allows us to have this conversation. And it's in that part, we just sometimes forget what that part is. And so it's our job to remember what it is and live in it and help each other live in it every day.
Absolutely. Would you say
I know it's a really long question.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. No, it's perfect.
So
It's perfect.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Would you say what percentage of people actually tap into their superpower? Because I know so many people who I think never really quite figure it out and are doing bits and bobs here and there. And I'm probably one of those people. I'll hold my hands up. I think I've never tapped into what I'm actually good at. And so that's why what you just said was so fascinating. I really related to it. Would you say there's a lot of people in the world who just never figure that out?
I can't give you a percentage,
No.
right? I would say though that you are exercising your superhero powers every day. You're just not noticing. You're not giving yourself credit. That's where the challenge is, right? We just don't give ourselves the credit. We talk ourselves down. And it's not even conscious. We're not, and that's the thing is imagine every behavior. So this is part of the process we're doing in building, like how we're teaching you girls. We're doing it in a way that we're not doing therapy on it. That's not the goal. What we're doing is helping them understand, okay, so in every behavior that I do, I want to ask myself certain questions, right? Because most of the time we do behavior unconsciously. And the reason that so here are the questions, right? Number one, first question is it like in the basis of all human psychology, am I doing this for pleasure or am I doing this because of pain? Right?
Yeah.
Am I doing this because it's something that I enjoy, which is the only reason behaviors will continue, right? Or am I doing it to avoid some kind of painful situation, which is essentially the basis of the Dickens process, right? And so the second question then, okay, is this something that I'm consciously doing or am I reacting? Am I subconsciously doing this, right? And so that's the second question. So if I look back and observe any behavior that I'm doing, if I have a moment of taking a step back, right, and just seeing it, then the third question, is it empowering for me or disempowering for me, right? The fourth question then becomes, am I creating abundance around this or am I creating scarcity, right? And scarcity comes from fear. And then the first three we know for sure. The last few we're playing around with this to see how it fits. The next one is, am I doing this as a long-term thing, right? Is this something that's really good for me long-term?
Yeah.
Or is it a short-term kind of fix? It could be good, but then the short-term can be really bad, right?
Yeah.
Long-term can be bad too at the same time. But usually it's when we're thinking about it in these long-term, okay, that's going to be something that's good for me, good for me, good for me. I have to push through like maybe not getting any feedback right where you get to that. Going to the gym
I was
for
just
the
going to
first
say,
time
it's
in a
like
long
just
time.
going to the gym. Exactly.
I'm just gonna feel pain right in the very beginning. And the last one is something that Tony talks about. You guys, is this a loving response or is it a cry for help? And putting those 6 things together in terms of analyzing any behavior or any emotion that we're currently doing. What is the answer? Because what we'll find is that most of the time when we're disempowered, it's because of some trauma that we've had from when we were young. And we just buried it. We never dealt with it. We didn't know how. And so now it's showing up in ways that we don't even realize it's showing up. And I want to say this because I am a parent as well. Parents have a huge play in this. Parents don't know how to parent,
Yeah.
right? We just don't know. We have no idea. And even with all the training I have, is that I had to learn through many years of not being really clear. But now it's all coming together, right? Now I'm realizing what I've been doing to my kids without even realizing. And I've learned that from my parents or for somebody else. And I use that and I don't even think about it. It's all subconscious, but it's creating scarcity. And that's where kids like learn that they don't realize it, but I'm not enough. So when I talk to parents now, it's like our number one job is to help our kids know that they're enough. And if my communication is not helping them, getting them toward that goal, it's the wrong communication.
How do you feel like you made that shift in your parenting? Because I know that's something that I like personally, like that was was a limiting belief that I find come up a lot through childhood too. I guess the 2 questions is how did you shift that as a parent and like how did you make that shift logistically? And then for someone on the other side of that who's maybe healing that wound, what do you suggest like moving forward through that?
So the first thing is that kids, because of the creation process, and I have to dive into this a little bit more to think about it, but from up to about 12 years old, our kids will think that we're gods, right? Just because we created them.
Yeah.
And they depend on us for everything, right? And so we have an opportunity, and also like an opportunity to create something incredible, also an opportunity to crush things at the same time. So because of this, they will never understand intent. Right. So if I'm a parent and I'm pushing them as hard as I can, because the probably the biggest major goal that almost every parent has is that I want my kids to have a better life than me. And if that's the case, then I'm pushing them as hard as I can to be as best as they can. And that pushing doesn't always come across. So that's my intent, is that I want them to have a better life. What comes across is that they don't do anything right. I'm constantly criticizing. I'm constantly like telling them what's wrong. I point out the thing with what's wrong first. And I think, oh, hey, that's what my parents did. I don't think this, but it's just, this is what my parents did. And I turned out okay. I turned out really fucked up. And with all this, it's not consciously fucked up. It's just fucked up with all these actions and things like that I don't realize where it's coming from. And I take it out on my wife, or I take it out on my friends, or it's just these random things that show up in my behavior.
Yeah.
If we're seeing that, then that's because it's something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
That we didn't. And so a lot of it comes from parents. And so the first thing is that if I were the parent, I would tell them, stop like pushing intent. Start pushing understanding, start pushing listening, listen to your kids. Ask them like, what kind of leader am I being for them? So ask them the tough, like most parents can't be vulnerable because they think vulnerability is a weakness. It's not weakness. But they think it because that's what their parents thought too.
Yeah.
Right. Now for kids on the other side, for any young person that has a really tough parent, first of all, know your parent, they're fucked up. So the biggest thing, like Kathy said this a long time ago she doesn't do this every time. I keep reminding her, asking her to do it. Take the labels off your parents. If we understand and use those 6 things and understanding their behavior, are they creating pleasure or pain? But the biggest one is this a cry for help, or is it a loving communication? And so if I deem it a cry for help, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Right. So when we're all you guys know this really just because of your relationship over all these years, like the amount of loving communication is abundant. You guys still may have your arguments here and there, right? And there's going to be some cry for help here and there. But if we respond to a cry for help with our own cry for help, that's when things go into the toilet. That's when relationships go bad, right? And then it just starts spiraling. The feedback loop that happens, it just starts spiraling down and down until people give up on each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, completely.
And so that's the first thing, is that if you're in the situation right now with anyone, right? So parents, like it's a big one with parents, and still to this day, it's a big one with parents. You have to separate yourself from your normal response. You have to notice that they're just on autopilot.
Yeah.
They really like their intent actually is really good. If you can see the intent, you can actually make a big shift, right? You can if you don't respond the same way with any behavior, you can actually completely take control of the situation, and you can do Jedi mind tricks on people to help them become better, to help them realize because they're in a place of pain when they're responding, right? So if parents are responding in anger or frustration, they're always in the wrong state, right? It's not the right response. It's always not the right response.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I had to learn. I had to calm myself down. I had to realize that Emma is the perfect daughter, right? Max is not the perfect son, I would have said a few years ago. He's such a stubborn shithead, right?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, I realized, you know what? I want him to be stubborn. I do not want to change that. I want him to fight for what's right. I want him to think critically. I want him not necessarily to take what I say to be the most important thing. And I told him. And in the end, I said, I'm sorry. Because that's what I was taught when I was young. Be the good boy. And that's actually a really fast way to take masculinity, man.
So as a parent, how do you find the balance between, because surely it gets to a point where, you know, you're trying to approach your children from a position of making them feel like they're enough. But on the flip side, is there too much of that? I'm just speaking again from personal experience with my parents and my upbringing. I think maybe there was an element of too much of that, to the point where I became too comfortable and I never suffered consequences. And I think that's really impacted me into my late teens, early 20s, where I never suffered consequences and I was coddled too much, if that makes sense. So is there a balance between those two?
Well, so I hear what you're saying. Consequences, do you mean that you did something not great and there was no consequences for you, kind of thing? Or what was the
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, but I guess also touching on, in a way, I guess being overloved, if that's such a thing, where you like, my mum would make me feel like I'm the smartest and most athletic and the biggest winner in the world at my age. And I think to an extent, it became a problem in the future, feeling too comfortable in, not suffering the consequences of something bad that I did, because she would bail me out every time. But
okay, so that's different, right? Getting bailed out is something different. It's so I think this is the reason why there's a number of reasons why GYLS works. One is that ideally, and it's not perfect, right? And that's good too, because you learn there's no such thing as perfect. Because you learn there are things that don't work out, and you learn from those things, and you ideally make things better. So one of them is that there's love and no judgment, right? And so that, I think, is the important baseline. Yeah, the second thing, though, is that we want to treat everyone there that they have their own decision making and their own, like, learning their own consequences of what's going on, right? The mindset of for our kids, we talk about, like, Max just had like a kind of a crushing end to their hockey season, right? And they didn't advance in their playoff games. And so have a conversation about it, right? So the question is, okay, so if this is what you really want, what will you do about it? Like, what do you want to do for this summer? How do you want to, if this is talk about outcomes and goals, right? How do we get you to them? Like, being very clear about, like, hey, so where were you really great? And self-evaluation, I think, is the biggest thing to teach, right? It's like, hey, you didn't get the outcome you wanted. And so what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Right? And so what are your choices that we can do to make it better? There's always a way to get better. And so how do we do that? And then I'm going to support you in making that happen. And so if you want so one of the things, like, okay, if I was faster, if I had more, like, faster and more endurance, right? He watches game tape. He's so into the intellectual side of it as well. And he's a really good athlete. And okay, if this is the case, what do you think you can do? Okay, let me go look it up. So empowering him to go find the answers. If I tell him the answers, that's one thing. And I can, and I will. If he asks me for some thoughts, and I'll give him those. At the same time, he's so good about researching things. He's so good. And you guys have more information at your fingertips. You could have a whole like Oxford, Harvard education without even going to the school now.
Yeah.
Right? You guys like the opportunity to have this information is so incredible. And now with AI, it's like this, it's out of this world. And so coming up with it, just, I think for parents, like creating the opportunity for their kids to make decisions on their own, understand the whole like tree of consequences through the whole thing. And so they feel empowered that they are able to make those decisions better and faster for their own lives as they continue to get older. And so I could be dead tomorrow. And the whole goal is that they know, like, I've left behind enough of the thought process where they can carry on and make really great decisions for themselves.
That's so empowering. That's so empowering and such a great way to think about it. And not even just as a parent to children, but to us for ourselves as well. How can you empower yourself to understand your outcome and what you can do to go towards it? And definitely as a parent to a child, I think about that, and that's really impactful as well. I definitely resonate more with, I guess Josh and I had opposite experiences, because I definitely resonate with a parent pushing me really, really hard. And there are, like, for me, the one baseline was get good grades, get into a good school, and be the smart whatever. And it's, in a lot of ways, it taught me a lot about perseverance and grit and putting in the elbow grease and put the work in. But it's also caused me tremendous amounts of, and Josh knows this, we talk about it all the time, tremendous amounts of stress and being ridiculously self-critical, and can put myself down a lot because it's, oh, I didn't do something perfectly, and just push, which in some ways I love it because I'm really proud of the life I've created for myself. And in a lot of ways it's impacted my health with stress levels and with feelings of anxiety a lot. So it's an interesting thing to think about as well, like moving forward. And like, I don't blame my parents for it. Like, I know exactly why they did it. Like, it makes sense, like, logically why they did it. And I have a great relationship with them now. It's just thinking about, okay, moving forward, the best way to approach it, and then also how to reparent myself now to understand that maybe science of achievement, art of fulfillment. So I've not mastered the science of achievement, but I'm pretty proud of where I'm at in that realm. And now focus more on art of fulfillment. How can I rest, prioritize rest, recovery, taking care of myself, things like that, and just being able to manage that. But that's something that really resonates a lot with me for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, its experience is going to be a little bit different here. It's just but it all comes, in the end, it all comes back to essentially various kinds of trauma that were put on us, whether it's parents or friends or coaches for that matter. There's a lot, or media for that matter as well. It's like we pull this stuff in and we're just reacting. And we don't even, the stress just shows up. We don't even realize that it's, oh, I had to be perfect. Or maybe the stress shows up like, oh, why haven't I achieved more? Right? And like, why haven't I been able to? And part of it is that, again, the one thing that, like, at the end of the board break, we talk about celebration. So one of the big things is condition the behavior you want. And if even for ourselves. And part of that is, okay, so I need to celebrate when I take a step forward. How long have you guys been doing this podcast now?
I guess like we've been recording maybe a year and a half, and it's been a little over a year that we have launched. But it's funny because we had a whole like brainstorming session, like, how do we want to celebrate this? How do we want to do this? I don't even think we ended up deciding on anything. I think we just brainstormed it and then continued on.
And part of this, and the fact that you've been doing it this long already leaves a lot of clues behind. One, what do you love? You do this just for the love of it. And you can already tell what your superhero powers are, some of them, right?
Yeah.
Easy. You just notice in what people do, what they're not, like, you would, for instance, like, if I could work with, and that's the whole thing with the girls, like, from that Mauricio are rescuing, it's like, I always told myself, if I could just work with young people for the rest of my life, this is what I would do. And now the opportunity is showing up, right? It's, oh, wow. Okay, so I better jump on this because it makes me feel really fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so just notice that this makes you really.
Yeah, absolutely. There were so many nuggets in there. Definitely celebrating everything, celebrating every little step forward, because you're conditioning the patterns that you want. And I think it's also interesting too, just thinking about like mine's and Josh's history as far as like this podcast goes and other stuff. I'm just realizing it now in real time is like my natural response is, okay, get the shit done. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen. Like, it doesn't matter if it's imperfect, just make it work and we'll get better over time. And Josh's response has just been not as much that. It's just been like, yeah, it'll happen. I know what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it. And then sometimes it doesn't happen. But it's interesting to watch like how that's been so conditioned in both of our childhoods maybe, and like how that shows up now, which I'm like just realizing now too, but interesting.
Yeah, everything, right? It like, Josh, you've been to Date with Destiny, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, okay. When you notice that Tony does all of these interventions, that almost always at the end, he'll ask, whose love did you crave more? Who of your parents, whose love did you crave more? That's a telling sign. Because the person that you crave love for more is typically the one that we held it back more, right? Or it was more conditioned to get. And because of that, there was all kinds of trauma that happened. And so one of the things as you guys get older, almost every older generation will say, oh, these kids have it so easy. And it's not true at all, right? There's more suicide now than at any time ever. And part of that reason is social media. We're conditioned so much without even realizing. Social media companies are like, they are psychological experts. And that like button is like, or the heart button for Instagram, things like that. That's the worst thing that has ever happened to the human race, I think.
Yeah.
Right. It's awful. And the implications of it moving forward, like it's all about, because I need to be liked by other people. I need significance. I need attention. And guys like, what was it, Jack Doherty? That guy that goes around and just like starts fights with everybody, and then his bodyguard steps in, right? So he always starts stuff with other people. Like he makes millions of dollars because he can create this kind of attention, right? And so it's actually rewarded. And everybody else sees it. Oh, I want to be rewarded like that too. And so they'll try to copy it. Now we have people like going to other countries like Japan, or Americans going to Japan or some other country, and then they're just causing all kinds of problems just so they can show it on social media.
Yeah.
Right. It's impacting, like back in our days, if something we screwed up in school, we did something stupid, our parents could actually move somewhere else and nobody would know who we were. But now you can't escape. There's no escaping now.
Yeah.
And parents don't understand that. They don't understand the pressure.
Yeah, very much. And if you like, if you exclude yourself from it and remove yourself from it, then it's also a problem.
Yeah, it's still going on,
happening.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still happening. It's just you don't get it directly, but you're like all your quote unquote friends will be influenced by other people, like spreading stories and rumors and things like that.
Yeah.
So part of this whole goal with these young girls, like if we build this, like this program is like with Tony Robbins, Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, Dr. Q, there are so many people that are throwing their content into this. It's going to be out of this world. And the ultimate goal is that we have it for every young person for free everywhere in the world. It's going to be delivered by AI. It's going to be delivered by human people. It's going to be delivered by video. There's going to be all kinds of, it can be translated to any language, right? In a moment. Create all kinds of, if it's for younger kids, we can create avatars like animation to deliver it, right? But the goal is that if we can we can heal this trauma early, help young people understand how to heal it and realize that it's not them, right? It's just this stuff that was like people didn't know. And they were like conditioning them their whole, like when they're early on, it had nothing to do with them. They were just the unfortunate recipients of this conditioning for people that didn't know. And now they can choose.
Yeah.
So like, Josh, after this, choose. You know, this is something that you love doing, right? So do something like this where it lights you up, man.
It's been incredible.
Is it hard to jump on this and talk to people? And you look around, you just do what you love doing, right? You just notice it and just find ways to express it. And then you'll find the way that is going to just, like, for instance, that one kid that does the School of Hard Knocks videos where he goes up and interviews, you could be interviewing some area where you're super interested in. Right? And just start talking to people and connecting people. This is what you love doing.
Yeah.
So do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. I know he's like being, it's also like 10 p.m. there, Josh. Thank you so much for being
Yeah.
such a trooper. But you just started
Yeah.
something and it's so exciting. And
No,
this
well,
is, I've never seen
this
you.
is why
Yeah.
this is why it's kind of like it's almost like divine timing that you're saying these things, because I have just launched my own thing in addiction recovery, and I'm trying to post content out there and reach as many people as I can to just help
Yeah.
people struggling with addiction. And I've started doing this about 3 weeks ago now,
Mm.
and it's along these lines, and it's something that I have basically come across as a way of, I've come to the conclusion that it's like my calling. It's something that I've thought about for a long time. It's something I'm very, very passionate about. So you coming on here and saying these things about your superpower, I
It
feel
all
like
comes together, dude.
exactly.
It's all coming.
The universe works in mysterious ways.
There's no coincidence. There's no coincidence.
None. It's always so cool too when we have guests on and they might not know what's happening in our lives, but then the messages that come through, like Brigitte was going on about like rest and recovery, and Josh after her like monologue about it, he goes, I was looking at Sasha the whole time because she needs to hear this so bad. But you never, like, you guys might not know what's going on in our lives, but then to come through and have the universe like almost speak through you, and there's no coincidences about it, it's always so incredible. And I always feel the same way about our listeners too. Like, I'm sure whatever we're going through is applicable in some sort of way, in some sort of situation to them, or anything that's needing to come through us or come through a guest is definitely going to help someone out with whatever they're going through right now. And it's always so impactful. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Josh, I love it, right? So like all of the things that happen in the past are happening for us. All the overlove got you to where you are right now,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So like whatever happened in the past, like we can choose to think that, yeah, it was like it was something that was really harsh, and yeah, it could be for sure. And in the end, it's up to us to decide. And it's and by the way, that is the most powerful part of our human life. The one biggest gift of the COVID timing is these video calls. I don't know if we talked about this when we talked last week. So as a geek, physics geek, right? So I'm represented by, you see me on your screen as like these different like things of light coming and hitting your eyes, and your brain is processing.
Yeah.
So from my side though, it's like the light from my room is hitting me, bouncing off of me, going into my camera, processing through into my computer, right? Going to the router, going over radio frequency to that router. Now it's heading into the internet, jumping over many servers to get to wherever you guys are, or to the main server on Descript here, and then coming to you guys, right? And sometimes it goes over into outer space, over satellites, things like that, right? So if that's the case, how do you know that I'm alive?
I mean, for me, it's like it's happening in real time, but actually it might not be.
It's,
That's
you know,
wild.
with AI getting as good as it is now, pretty soon we won't know, right? We really won't
Yeah,
know.
true.
But how do you, right, at least right now, before that happens, how do we know that each other is alive?
I feel it.
We decided.
Yeah.
That's how powerful our brains are.
Yeah.
So that means that if I close my eyes and I see my dad, who passed away in 1991, if I choose to believe it, he's alive with me right now. The power of that thought, that decision, is our number one superpower.
Yes.
We can decide anything we want right now.
Ooh, I'm getting chills. I love it.
And it's wild, right? That's just the power of our brains.
It's actually gnarly. Like, your thoughts truly are your reality, and even like the words you say to yourself, the decisions you make, the choices, everything. It's all an accumulation and really comes through so much. It's been
Yeah, we just got to be conscious now.
Yes.
What are we going to decide consciously? Not the past stuff that's impacting us all the time, like little meteorites that are hitting us, right? Clear all that out. What are we going to do from right now on? And that's really what matters.
Yeah, big time, big time. Oh, thank you so much for coming on. It's been incredible to chat with you and to get all of these nuggets of wisdom. I feel like I'm excited to edit it and just to listen to it again, because it's going to be great and very profound and very impactful. And we're so excited for you and for your projects and everything. And again, thank you so much. I really just appreciate you taking the time and energy and love to be with us today.
Oh, for sure. I'm so grateful that you guys are doing this. I part of me is like, hey, just keep posting these episodes in the alumni group, right? And just keep spreading them around. I think this is like so wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's so cool after all these years, all these thousands of, and we were like, for you guys to be able to do this for my kids that have just gone through, like my daughter finished her youth leadership year this last year, and my son's going for youth leader. He's applying for youth leader this
Oh,
year.
wow.
It's like, and now they actually have had the opportunity to actually do the event, right?
Yeah.
And you guys, I think you guys probably saw them when they were little
Mhm.
back then, right? And so now they've actually gone through the event now, and they would eat this up if they had access to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, because like it's like crazy how connected their alumni groups are, their youth, and you guys are youth leaders. You guys are a class of your own, right? Every one of the years, it's just been incredible. Like you guys have just been absolutely amazing. And so, but having that, like having the opportunity to see where you guys are going with all of this is out of this world cool.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why we should definitely post them in the
No,
Gills
that's a great
like
idea.
chats because
Yeah.
most of every guest that we've had on so far has been through the Tony Robbins environment through Gills specifically. So we can definitely share those because they've just been, just in general, we'll share the podcast, but it's been really cool. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll catch you guys next week on Mastermind Moments.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.